Hey, fractured headlines here. Michelle Obama popped up in the news the other day. And boy, oh boy, what a message she had for America. She said she wouldn't be running for president because the United States is not ready for a woman president. Whoa. Now, she's a highly qualified lady with tons of experience dealing with domestic leaders, leaders around the United States, and dealing with international figures. And she's got a very resourceful and smart sidekick there in Barack Obama. Wow, if anybody would make a great president, Michelle Obama, good prospect. But she says, no, America's not ready for it. And we have had a couple of good choices. We had Kamala Harris, who ran, and she was a highly qualified person, an attorney, prosecuting attorney, I believe, for the state of California. She had relevant experience, good foreign policy chops, and would have made a great leader. Now, you may not have liked her. She may not have been your style, but we had a choice. I've spoken about this before, between insane and sane, and she was the sane candidate. Donald Trump, as we have seen, is the insane candidate. Prior to that, Hillary Clinton, perhaps the most qualified candidate to have run for quite a long while, tremendous qualifications. Again, maybe you like her, maybe you don't, but by golly, she was more qualified. She was more qualified than the knucklehead who won. We can all agree on that, I think. Donald Trump didn't do a whole lot for the United States during his 4 years after he defeated her. We've seen around the world examples of women who are leaders of the country, very qualified, and they've done a great job. Recently, New Zealand had a lady running the show, and I don't know her name. I don't know how long she is in office. I've seen her on TV. She's been on, I think, Stephen Colbert. She was on a Colbert show. Qualified lady, good leader, didn't lead her country into any sort of morass. And there have been plenty of other examples of women who ran the country. India, I believe Indira Gandhi was her name, ran the country for a long time. Very qualified leader. Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady in Britain, led the country. We had also in Germany, what was her name again? I don't remember, but she ran the country for quite a while. So it's not like it has been tried elsewhere and worked, and it didn't work. It did work. There's no reason why women shouldn't be the head of governments. As a matter of fact, if you look around the world, some of the countries that are run by men are really run poorly. The United States right now, with Donald Trump in office, oh boy. Healthcare, forget about it. They don't have a plan. And we see that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were best friends. Jeffrey Epstein, of course, was the world-famous pedophile. And Donald Trump enjoyed hanging out with that guy because he liked his women young, on the young side. Now, we're never probably going to find out exactly how young the girls were that Epstein provided to Trump, who he had illegal relations with. We're not going to find that out. That's all going to get scrubbed before those files get released. And we've seen other examples of countries run by men. Putin, for example, great example. Who wouldn't rather have Mrs. Putin than Mr. Putin? Is there a Mrs. Putin? I don't know, but she's probably a lot less bloodthirsty than her husband. And there must be plenty of women in Russia who would do a more humane job of running that country. You've got Kim Jong-un, North Korea, total knucklehead, a guy. Now, I know I'm just kind of cherry picking and looking around the globe, but you get the idea. It's not like men are the magic potion for running a government correctly. It's not that way. It really is not. In many cases, we'd be a lot better off if women were given a fair shake at running a country. Now, in Michelle Obama's case, I understand where she's coming from. She and Barack had a pretty good run, 8 years in a White House. They probably had as much of Washington as they care to deal with, and I understand that. Barack's a pretty hard act to follow, and I'm not so sure that he would be happy in a supporting role while his wife ran the country. But if I was given a choice between Michelle Obama and Donald Trump, it's pretty clear Michelle would be the better candidate. Or if I was given a choice between Michelle Obama and J.D. Vance, who's kind of an intellectual flyweight, again, we'd go for Michelle Obama, no doubt about it. How about your country? Run by a man, run by a woman, run well? Yeah. So yeah, Michelle was in the news the other day, and rather disheartening to hear her say that. You would think of anyone, she would at least have some hope that a woman would make a great leader of the United States, but I guess she's a hardcore realist, and she looks at the patriarchy, the idea that Christians very often hold, that the man should be the head of the household, the woman should be subservient, the woman's job is to stay home barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen, and don't interfere with man stuff like running companies or running the country or running the world. And that idea, that notion of patriarchy, runs quite deep in the American psyche, unfortunately. There are a lot of women who don't give themselves enough credit, and who don't give their fellow women enough credit. Yeah, just to lay down and play dead and say, well, the men should be running the show. It's kind of a sad state of affairs. It's a sad commentary on what Christianity has contributed to the political scene in America. The idea of patriarchy, it's related to the church, and it's rubbed off on the government. And we've never really recuperated from the relationship between Christianity and democracy. In spite of democracy's promise of equality for all, women have long held a secondary position. Even now, women's rights are under attack. I mean, we've seen Roe v. Wade turn back, which is unbelievable. I never thought I would see that in my lifetime, where women would lose basic health care rights, a choice in whether to bring a pregnancy to full term or not, regardless of their situation. So yeah, women only got to vote like 100 years ago. And even as recently, I believe as the 1970s, a woman couldn't get a credit card without her husband signing for it, or her father, or some shit like that. So yeah, Michelle Obama, realist, but it's kind of sad. Because a woman like Michelle, a woman like Hillary Clinton, someone like Ms. Harris, all would have been excellent choices and better choices in many cases than the men who ended up running the show. So that's Michelle in the news. And it's a lovely day here in Taiwan, far away from the maddening, nutty stuff going on in Washington. But still, I like to keep track of what's going on back home. Hey, Fractured Headlines, y'all. If you like what you hear, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make a comment, argue with me. Yeah, contribute an insightful comment in the comment section. Or do absolutely nothing. It's all up to you. Have a great day, y'all. Catch you on the next video.